Of course, here's an 800-word expansion of asterisk asterisk, a level up for you, asterisk asterisk in the bold, confident tone inspired by Priyanka Chopra. Let's get one thing straight. You don't level up for him. You don't do it so he finally pays attention or so he regrets walking away. You don't glow up to be someone else's fantasy. You level up for asterisk you asterisk. Because the minute you start treating yourself like you are worth more, the world begins to agree. But the catch, that validation needs to begin from asterisk within asterisk. Not from a man who couldn't even text you back, not from someone who didn't know how to appreciate your presence. You start with you and everything else will follow. Leveling up is not just about putting on makeup or wearing a better dress, though there's nothing wrong with that. It's about aligning your outer world with the inner power you've always had. It's choosing to finally believe that you were never meant to beg for the bare minimum. It's deciding that your goals, your peace, and your joy are non-negotiable. Think about how often we shrink ourselves, how often we dim our light just to make someone else feel comfortable, how we lower our standards because we're afraid of being alone. But here's what they don't tell you: being alone isn't the worst thing. Being asterisk disrespected asterisk, being asterisk undervalued asterisk, being asterisk ignored asterisk. Now that's painful, and when someone ignores you, they're showing you exactly where you don't belong. It's not a punishment, it's a redirection. A gift in disguise. So, what do you do when he starts pulling away? You don't run after him. You don't send that last message. You don't overthink every moment, wondering where you went wrong. Instead, you take all that energy and pour it into your own cup. You start building the life that you once put on hold. You wake up earlier. You work out not to impress anyone, but to feel stronger. You read, you travel. You invest in your mind, your health, your soul. You become so full of life that the silence from anyone else becomes irrelevant. When I say level up, I don't just mean changing what you see in the mirror. I mean evolving into a woman who chooses herself every time. You work on your finances, you launch that business, you learn new skills, you chase your passions unapologetically. You surround yourself with people who don't just tolerate you, but who celebrate you. People who clap for you even when you're not in the room. Because here's what's powerful: the woman who no longer waits for permission to be amazing. She no longer waits to be chosen. She chooses herself. Every single day, and when you get to that level, you become magnetic. Not because you're trying to attract anyone, but because you're whole, you're rooted, you're glowing with a confidence that says, I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to express me. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't about being arrogant. It's not about pretending you're not hurt or pretending you didn't care. It's okay to care, it's okay to feel, but you don't asterisk stay asterisk there. You acknowledge the pain and then you rise. You don't seek revenge through words. You let your success be your answer. Let your joy be your comeback. Let your growth be your loudest response, because eventually he asterisk will asterisk notice. He'll look back and realize what he let go. But by then you'll have moved on. You'll be too busy living the life that once seemed so distant. You won't have time for breadcrumbs, for half-hearted apologies, or for I miss you texts at midnight. You'll be booked, busy, and blissfully unbothered. And here's the beautiful twist: when you level up for you, you attract people who see your value without needing reminders, people who meet your energy, people who don't make you question your worth. The universe makes room for that kind of power, but only after you stop settling. So let him wonder where you went. Let him feel the absence of your energy, your laughter, your kindness. Let him scroll through your feed and realize he's no longer the audience. You are the main event, and the show goes on, with or without him. Leveling up is the most powerful form of healing. It's how you transform pain into power, heartbreak into hunger, and loss into legacy. And once you start, you'll never want to go back, because the view from the top, it's breathtaking. But the best part, you'll know asterisk you asterisk climbed there, step by step, with no one's permission but your own. So if you're sitting there wondering what to do next, wondering if he'll come back, wondering if you should have done more, stop. Start asking a better question. Ask yourself, what does the best version of me look like? And then go become her. Do it for you, not for him, because you were never meant to chase. You were born to rise. Would you like this formatted as a script for a video or spoken word performance? Absolutely. Here's an 800-word expansion of silence is power, in a strong, reflective, and confident voice inspired by Priyanka Chopra's tone and persona. Silence is one of the most underestimated forces in the world. In a culture where we are constantly told to speak up, post more, reply faster, and stay visible, choosing silence feels rebellious, but it's not weakness, it's not avoidance. Silence is strategy, silence is self-respect. And when someone ignores you, whether it's a man who's pulling away, a friend who suddenly goes cold, or a world that doesn't seem to see your worth, silence becomes your most powerful response. It's natural to want to react, to ask what happened, to over-explain, to chase closure. We all want answers. We all want to feel chosen, but here's the truth. People don't forget those who go quiet with grace. The ones who disappear without drama, without a scene, without begging for clarity. Those are the people who stay in your mind the longest. When someone ignores you, the temptation is to do the opposite, to get louder, to post something that gets their attention, to send one more message, to remind them what they're missing. But let me tell you, real power is in restraint. It's in knowing when to walk away without a performance. It's in allowing your silence to echo louder than your words ever could. You see, silence leaves room for thought, and thought leads to realization, and realization, that's where regret is born, but that's not your job to orchestrate. You don't stay quiet so they feel bad. You stay quiet because you know you deserve more than someone who needs to be convinced. When you stop reacting, when you stop justifying your worth, you reclaim control. You no longer operate on their timeline or their moods. You step into your own rhythm. You say, without saying a word, I will not beg for space in anyone's life. And that kind of energy, it shifts everything. It commands respect. It makes people notice, not because you demanded it, but because you didn't. Silence is also where healing happens, when you're not obsessively checking your phone, refreshing their profile, replaying every conversation. You give yourself space to feel, to breathe, to remember who you were before the noise, before the confusion, before you started questioning your value based on someone else's inconsistency. And maybe that's what scares people the most. Your silence means you're no longer waiting, no longer available for emotional scraps, no longer giving your energy to someone who doesn't know what to do with it. That kind of detachment, it's magnetic. It makes them wonder, it makes them reflect. And sometimes it makes them come back. But by then you may not even care anymore, because in that silence you'll rediscover your voice, not the loud, performative one, but the quiet, certain one inside you. The one that says, I'm enough, even when no one is clapping. You'll realize that you were never too much or not enough. You were just giving the right energy to the wrong place, and when you realize that, you stop looking for validation. You stop explaining yourself, you stop hoping they'll notice, you start noticing yourself. Silence teaches you that not everything requires a reaction, not every moment of disrespect deserves your time. Not every person who walks away deserves a goodbye. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing at all, and just leave and let's be honest, people are confused by silence. We live in a world addicted to constant connection. So when you disconnect, when you don't text back, when you don't watch their story, when you don't engage, that absence is loud. It forces them to sit with themselves, with the choices they made, with the gap you used to fill. That's not petty, it's powerful, but silence isn't just for them. It's a gift to yourself, it's peace, it's clarity, it's giving yourself a break from the chaos of needing to always be on. You don't owe the world constant access to your thoughts, your emotions, your presence. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is log off, unplug, and turn inward, not to hide, but to heal. Eventually, those who ignored you will notice the silence. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but they will. They'll scroll through their phone and realize your name hasn't popped up. They'll feel the stillness where your energy used to be, and maybe they'll miss it. Maybe they won't, but by that time you'll have evolved. You'll be too focused on your own journey to look back, and if they do come back, remember this: you don't break your silence just because someone finally noticed it. You speak again when you decide it's time, not when they do. Because the power wasn't just in going quiet, it was in reclaiming your voice and knowing exactly when and how to use it. So don't be afraid of silence, embrace it, cultivate it, let it shape you, let it calm the storm inside you. Let it become your standard, not your last resort. You don't have to announce your departure, you don't have to narrate your healing, you don't have to post your comeback. Sometimes the loudest message is the one you never send. Would you like this adapted into a video monologue or Instagram caption series? Absolutely. Here's an 800-word expansion of ***. Be so busy building your empire. ***, written in a confident, unapologetic tone inspired by Priyanka Chopra's strength and ambition. Be so busy building your empire that you forget to check who's watching. That's it. That's the secret. Not because you're trying to prove anything to anyone, but because you've finally decided to live for yourself. Because chasing after people who don't see your worth is a waste of the time you should be using to build the life you actually deserve. The truth is, the world is full of distractions, of people who don't know what they want, of mixed signals, of games, of fleeting attention that disappears the moment you stop playing small. And it's easy to get caught in it. To start wondering why he hasn't replied, why they lost interest, why you weren't chosen. But you know what's harder and infinitely more rewarding: choosing yourself, choosing your goals, choosing to build something that doesn't disappear when someone changes their mind. When you're building your empire, you don't have time to chase texts. You don't sit around refreshing his feed. You don't wait for someone to remember how valuable you are. You already know, and that knowing fuels everything you do. You're not just waking up to get through the day. You're waking up with purpose, with vision, with fire in your chest and your name written on your future like it was always meant to be there. You stop playing small. You stop apologizing for being ambitious, for having dreams that are too big for someone else's comfort. You stop shrinking to fit into someone else's version of who you should be, because queens don't beg to sit at anyone's table, they build their own. And when they do, the right people pull up chairs not because they were begged to, but because they recognize the power that's already there. Building your empire doesn't mean you need to be perfect. It means you stay focused. It means you put in the work when no one's clapping. It means you're hustling in silence, turning late nights and early mornings into bricks that will one day hold up a castle. Your castle, built from resilience, discipline, and a refusal to settle. You start thinking bigger, you invest in your growth, you take that course, you start that brand, you save your money, you learn how to protect your energy like it's the most valuable currency you own, because it is. You realize that not everyone deserves access to you, and certainly not the distracted version of you who's too caught up in who's paying attention. You're not here to perform, you're here to build ***. And here's the thing, when you start building, people notice, maybe not immediately, maybe not the ones you thought would, but your energy shifts. You become magnetic, not because you're chasing anyone, but because you're too focused to care. And nothing is more attractive than a woman who's in her zone, who doesn't flinch when someone leaves, who doesn't need validation to know she's on the right path. You realize that attention is cheap. Commitment is rare, and you're not here for cheap thrills or temporary highs. You're here for legacy, for purpose, for the kind of life that doesn't crumble when someone else walks away, because your empire isn't made of their opinions, it's made of your grit. It's not always glamorous. Sometimes building looks like loneliness, like saying no to the party, like staying up to finish that proposal, like failing, adjusting, and starting again. But every moment you choose your goals over temporary pleasure, every time you show up for yourself when no one else does, you add another layer to your foundation. And that's how empires are built, not in applause, but in discipline. Not in spotlight, but in solitude. You'll lose people along the way, that's part of it. Not everyone is meant to walk the entire journey with you. Some were only meant to teach you lessons about boundaries, about self-respect, about not lowering your standards for the sake of company. Let them go, keep building, because the ones who are meant to be part of your empire will never ask you to stop building it. They'll bring bricks of their own, and when he finally realizes what he lost, when he scrolls through your life and sees you thriving, sees the glow he couldn't dim, sees the empire you built from the ashes of his silence, he'll regret it, but you won't, because you didn't build it for him. You didn't level up for revenge. You did it because somewhere deep down you knew you were meant for more. So stay busy, so busy you don't have time to look back, so focused that his absence becomes background noise. So empowered that you no longer wonder why he didn't choose you. You know the answer now. He simply couldn't keep up. Keep building, keep rising, and one day you'll look around at everything you've created and smile. Not because he's watching, but because you didn't stop when it got hard. You didn't break when you were alone. You didn't quit when it got quiet. You kept building for you, and that's why you'll win. Would you like this adapted into a motivational voiceover script or visual carousel for Instagram? Of course, here's an 800-word expansion of ***, own the room without saying a word, ***, written in a bold, magnetic, and self-assured voice inspired by Priyanka Chopra's commanding presence. There's something powerful about a woman who doesn't need to announce herself. She walks into a room and the air shifts, not because she's loud, not because she's trying to be seen, but because she already knows she belongs. That's what it means to own the room without saying a word. It's not about ego, it's not about performance, it's about presence, pure, undeniable presence. You don't get that kind of presence by accident, you build it. Every time you choose self-respect over attention. Every time you walk away from someone who didn't see your worth. Every time you look in the mirror and decide you are enough. Not tomorrow, not when someone validates you, but now, just as you are. That kind of confidence doesn't scream. It doesn't chase, it doesn't explain, it just is. When you walk into a room with that kind of energy, people notice. They don't know what it is at first. Maybe it's the way you carry yourself, shoulders back, chin up, unbothered. Maybe it's your silence, calm, composed, not trying to prove anything. Maybe it's your eyes, clear, focused, not scanning the room for approval. You're not performing, you're existing. Fully, confidently, unapologetically. That's what makes them look twice. You see, we're taught to fill space with noise, to overtalk, to overcompensate, to be liked, to be soft, to be pleasing. But there is power in stillness, power in not needing to explain yourself. Power in being the calm in a room full of chaos. When you own the room without speaking, it's because you've already had the conversation with yourself that matters most, the one where you said, I am enough. Owning the room doesn't mean being the loudest voice. It means being rooted. It means walking in knowing you have nothing to prove. It means knowing that your energy, your presence, your essence, it's enough to shift the dynamic. And when people can feel that you don't need their approval, they start offering it. Not because you asked, but because confidence is magnetic. Think about it. How many times have you been drawn to someone not because of what they said, but because of how they held themselves, because of the quiet certainty they carried? That's not a skill, that's a decision to stop chasing attention and start commanding respect. A decision to stop over-explaining and start embodying. A decision to stop waiting to be invited and start walking in like you already belong. And here's the truth, people will test it. They'll challenge your silence, they'll misinterpret your stillness, they'll project their insecurities onto your confidence. That's okay, let them. You're not here to make everyone comfortable. You're here to show up fully in your own power. Let your silence say, I don't entertain anything that costs me my peace. Let your posture say, I've already won battles you know nothing about. Let your presence say, I know who I am and I don't need to say it twice. Because real power doesn't need to perform, it doesn't rush to fill silence, it doesn't fight for attention. It creates space and people step into it. Owning the room is about knowing that you bring value simply by being who you are. It's in the subtle things, the way you walk, the way you sit, the way you look someone in the eye without flinching. It's in knowing when to speak and when to hold back. It's in being so connected to your worth that no one can shake you with their opinions. You don't need to chase the spotlight. You asterisk are asterisk the spotlight. The moment you start honoring your own energy, the world starts mirroring it back to you. You become the woman who doesn't need to be liked because she already loves herself. The woman who doesn't lower her voice because she knows her truth deserves to be heard. The woman who doesn't fear silence because she understands its strength. And ironically, it's in that silence that people begin to listen, to pay attention, to wonder who is she, not because you demanded it, but because you carried yourself like someone who expects nothing less. That's not arrogance, that's self-respect, that's inner peace. That's presence. So when you step into any room, from a boardroom to a party, from a coffee shop to a stage, walk in like you're meant to be there, not with pride but with certainty, not to compete but to own asterisk. Let your energy speak before you do. Let your posture say, I'm not here to impress, I'm here to exist fully. Let your silence carry the power of a woman who's been through enough to no longer chase validation. Because when you stop speaking to prove your worth, when you stop trying to be understood by everyone, when you stop shrinking to fit a space that was never built for your power, you don't just enter the room. You own it, and the best part, you don't even have to say a word. Would you like this turned into a performance script, visual quote series, or motivational voiceover? Of course. Here's an 800-word expansion of upgrade your circle, in a bold, introspective, and empowering voice inspired by Priyanka Chopra's clarity, elegance, and assertiveness. At some point, you realize that who you surround yourself with isn't just a reflection of your present, it's a forecast of your future. The people you give your energy to influence your thoughts, your mindset, your standards, and your growth. That's why upgrading your circle isn't just a preference, it's a necessity. You can't build a powerful life around people who are comfortable staying small. Too many of us stay loyal to proximity, not purpose. We keep people around because of shared history, not shared vision. We make excuses for the ones who drain us. We shrink so they won't feel insecure. We hold space for people who wouldn't do the same for us, and we call that loyalty. But at what cost? There's a moment. And if you're reading this, maybe you're in it, when you realize that keeping the wrong circle will cost you everything. Your time, your peace, your progress, your self-worth, because no matter how driven you are, no matter how hard you work, if you're constantly surrounded by people who don't see your light, who don't push you to grow, who don't hold themselves to a higher standard, you'll eventually start to dim. Energy is contagious, mindsets are contagious, so when you're constantly around people who gossip, who settle, who complain instead of create, you absorb that energy whether you mean to or not. You start second, guessing your ambition. You start questioning your dreams. You start thinking maybe you're asking for too much. That's not inspiration, that's influence, and it's slowing you down. Upgrading your circle isn't about arrogance. It's not about thinking you're better than anyone. It's about honoring the future you're trying to build. It's about aligning yourself with people who think big, speak life, and move with intention. People who clap when you win and challenge you when you're slacking. People who make you feel energized, not exhausted, inspired, not insecure. Look around. Who are you spending the most time with? Do they celebrate your growth, or do they get quiet when you rise? Do they encourage discipline and boundaries, or do they pull you into distractions? Do they push you to evolve, or do they pressure you to stay the same? Because if the answer isn't clear, your circle might be your ceiling. The hard part, sometimes upgrading your circle means outgrowing people you love. Friends you've known for years, family members who don't get it, partners who don't support your vision. That's painful. But it's also powerful, because the moment you choose your future over your comfort zone, everything changes. You stop watering one-sided relationships. You stop begging to be understood. You stop explaining your goals to people who are committed to misunderstanding them, and you start aligning. You start attracting people who are also on a mission. People who talk about ideas, not just other people. People who invest in themselves, who read, who learn, who ask deeper questions. People who see your vision and want to see you win, not because it benefits them, but because that's who they are. The right circle reminds you of who you are when you forget. They hold you accountable, they call you out and call you up. They don't let you settle, they don't let you spiral, they don't let you forget how powerful you are. And when life gets heavy, and it will, they become a soft place to land, a space where you can be vulnerable without being judged, a space where growth isn't just encouraged, it's expected. But to attract that kind of circle, you have to become that kind of person. You can't ask for supportive, driven, positive people if you're still gossiping, procrastinating, or playing small. You have to elevate yourself, speak with more intention, move with more purpose. Be someone who brings value into the room, not someone who drains it. That's how you start attracting people on your level, or higher. Upgrading your circle may feel lonely at first. Growth often does, but that loneliness, it's just space for the right people to come in. Don't fill it with what's familiar. Don't run back to the comfort of small thinking. Let the space stretch you. Let it teach you how to enjoy your own company. Let it prepare you for the rooms you're about to walk into. Because once you upgrade your circle, your life shifts, your conversations change, your standards rise, your confidence grows, and suddenly you're no longer explaining why you want more. You're surrounded by people who get it, who expect it, who are building right alongside you. So yes, upgrade your circle, be intentional, protect your peace, protect your vision, and remember, not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Some people had their chance, and they showed you who they were. Believe them, bless them, and move on, because your future, it's too important to be delayed by people who aren't growing. Let them watch, let them talk, let them wonder how you leveled up so fast. Just smile. And keep building. With the right people by your side, you're unstoppable. Would you like this adapted into a short script, carousel content, or a podcast-style audio script? Absolutely. Here's an 800-word expansion of ***, rewrite the story, ***, written in a bold, empowering voice that channels the self-determination and strength of someone like Priyanka Chopra. You are not bound by the story they told about you. Not the one they whispered behind your back, not the one you were raised to believe, and not the one that fear repeats in your mind when things get quiet. You can rewrite the story at any moment, on any day. And it doesn't require permission. For too long, you've carried narratives that were never yours to begin with. You're too emotional, too ambitious, not smart enough, not pretty enough, not enough. And somewhere along the way, those voices started to sound like your own. But just because a belief has been with you for years doesn't make it true. Just because someone said it with confidence doesn't make it fact. And just because you've repeated it to yourself doesn't mean you have to keep living by it. Maybe your story started in pain, maybe it began in silence, maybe it was shaped by rejection, loss, shame, or struggle, and you learned to survive by playing a role someone else wrote for you. Maybe you played small to feel safe. Maybe you said yes when you wanted to scream no. Maybe you stayed quiet to be liked, agreeable, digestible, but that version of you was survival. It was not your final draft. You get to change it right now. Not when you have it all figured out, not when you've healed completely, not when you feel brave, but now, because rewriting the story doesn't mean pretending the past didn't happen. It means refusing to let it define what comes next. It means looking at the old chapters, the pain, the mistakes, the heartbreak, and saying, I'll carry the lessons, not the shame. You are not your trauma. You are not your failures. You are not the version of yourself who didn't know better. You are not what they did to you. You are not what they called you. You are not their projections. You are a blank page every single day you choose to be. And the pen, it's in your hand now. Rewriting the story means choosing your own narrative. It means reframing. Instead of I'm not good enough, you say I'm just getting started. Instead of they left me, you say they made room for something better. Instead of I failed, you say I learned what doesn't work. Because your life isn't over. You're still here, still breathing, still evolving, and as long as that's true, the story isn't finished. Start writing it how you want it to go. Be the hero this time, not the victim. Be the one who rose, not the one who stayed stuck. Be the one who chose herself, who walked away, who started again, who stood in her power when it would have been easier to fall back into patterns. You can change the tone. You can change the direction. You can change the entire plot. Who says your career can't take off now? Who says your best relationship isn't still ahead of you? Who says the girl who was broken can't become the woman who builds empires? Every great story has plot twists, setbacks, villains, pain, but the strongest characters aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who got up, who refused to be written off, who took control of the narrative and said, "No, this isn't how my story ends." Rewriting your story might mean disappointing people who loved the older version of you. The one who stayed quiet, who followed the rules, who asked for permission. Let them be disappointed. This isn't about them. This is about your freedom, your alignment, your truth, because staying small to make others comfortable is the fastest way to lose yourself, and you've already done that. You're not doing it again, so maybe now your story is about rising. Maybe it's about learning boundaries, about loving yourself out loud, about unlearning everything that made you feel like you weren't enough. Maybe it's about starting over in your 30s or blooming after heartbreak. Or finding peace in solitude, or finally chasing the dream you buried under self-doubt. It doesn't matter how long you believed the lie. What matters is that you're ready to tell the truth now, that you're ready to build a life that feels like freedom, that you're ready to walk in rooms and no longer shrink, that you're ready to be the woman who writes her story with intention, grace, and fire. Let them say, "She changed." Let them be confused by your glow up. Let them read your new story and not recognize the girl they once knew. That's the point. You're not her anymore. You've turned the page. You're writing something new, and this time you're the author. Would you like this adapted for video narration, a podcast script, or as a series of quotes for social media?